Hey everyone, it's your old friend Oxtail the DM coming at you to talk about 2025 and role-playing gaming, D&D, and all that genre. I'm super pumped this year to get in talking about this. I've been wanting to do this for a long time, ever since that the whole streaming and reaction has kind of died down to a very low lull. There's some big names still out there, but I think striking into D&D and tabletop game because that don't feel like it's going to go away at any time. So I wanted to start talking about it, and I really feel like that it's key now, especially with big names out there. We're going to talk about that here, but first, I want to thank you guys and gals for watching. Let's get started. So let's start out with expectations. If you're new to the game and you're just joining, you're not sure how to even integrate yourself into role-playing games in general, whether it's Wizards of the Coast D&D or Pathfinder or whatever system you might be using. A lot of people don't know what it is to role play or to even act, know what their character can do and not do. So they find it hard and they sometimes find themselves not wanting to continue because they get frustrated. And with frustrating instances, I can understand why so many people don't jump onto this bandwagon faster because they're a little nervous. They're not wanting to make a fool of themselves. Let me tell you, making a fool of yourself sometimes is the best thing. So you can't laugh at yourself. Who can you laugh at? I've laughed at myself so many times when I've played role playing games like D&D, and I can tell you that I have so many stories, and I'm looking forward to sharing those stories with all of you going forward. But let's focus on what your expectations are. So let's talk about some of the big names out there. Critical Role, Dimension 20. Brandon Lee Mulligan, great epic DM, good storyteller. I've seen so many of his clips here lately. It's outstanding how smart and savvy he is at being able to create a world that is just filled with magic. And some of the people that he's had DM, along with them are just as equally as good, and their type of storytelling is so different, but similar in some other ways. So, and then we got Matt Mercer, who's such a big name with the animated show that just came out, and eh, the expectations are kind of high, I think, with role playing games because people see that and they see the production that goes into those. They see that they expect that level sometimes, not intentionally. It's just what they have seen. That's their exposure. So with the exposure, they want to have those epic moments like they see. But I feel like in D&D and role playing games in general, that expectation is good to have, but it can lead people to believe that that's where it should be. I'm here to tell you that's not always the way it should be. Honestly, having a good group, having conversations, just laughing at different things is key. Not having that level of production. I wouldn't expect if you go into a D&D game to expect your DM to be that level. So with that in mind, I want people to to think about this. What is your expectations when you go into role playing games? What are you thinking about? What do you want out of the game? That should be some of the questions you should ask yourself whenever you're applying for a game. And talking with their future DM is always a great thing to do. Sit down and have a couple minutes. Say, hey, I want to take some time to get to know you and talk about where I am. I'm new to the game and I don't know much about it. That's my key focus for today. Getting to know what you want out of it. How to push yourself to be, a better role player. Some people don't even know what to do. That is scary because You're coming, you don't want to make a fool of yourself. But like I said, sometimes that's the best thing. Not knowing what to do, it's not a bad thing. Sometimes you have to ask those key questions and don't be afraid to ask those questions. If you have a good DM, they're going to talk to you. They're going to tell you, this is what's going on. This is what you get a sense. And I implemented this in a few games with newer players. I implemented a system where basically I could say, hey, your heightened senses because of all your training have basically sense a little bit of a magic in this area. Not actually detect magic, but more or less just a sense that there is a magical essence in the room. I feel like that's key as a DM, that you should portray that there's something in this room that they might need to investigate a little bit further. Even doing that for your melee and range characters that are more focused on combat. You could say, hey, there's a heightened sense of tension, or you sense dark presence, that is nearby. Those kind of key elements not only help player engage more, it helps the DM engage with that player. So I feel like it's a combination of column A, column B kind of situation. So that's what you need to do is talk with your DM, ask those key questions, and maybe get that kind of ask them about that system. Maybe they might be able to implement something. What I'm here to do is also get y'all's feedback. Tell me something about what pushed you to be either a DM or a player. What do you like more about it? And what do you use for newer players? I want to develop this community to talk about those key elements, push those boundaries. So, no question is a dumb question. I want people to be able to come together and talk and have fun in my community. So, please, no gatekeeping. I get it. There's some things that you're like, oh my gosh, you're doing that. Yeah, there's no wrong answer in D&D. There's no wrong answer in role playing games. Of course, there's going to be people's personalities might come out into the character, and sometimes it's kind of harder to deal with certain players. And we'll talk about that later on in another episode, talking about how you deal with, I don't want to say toxic, but more interesting individuals, whether it's a player or even a DM that's a little bit more rule loyal. So we're going to talk about that, like I said, in another episode. But going forward, I say get yourself out there. Get yourself a DM that you feel comfortable with. Talk, look through. Roll 20 is a good one to to look for individuals. Um, there's other sites out there. That some of them do cost money that you have to pay to play. I'm a free DM. I've never charged for a session, but there's DMs that do rely on this as a means to basically pay their bills. And I respect that because sometimes you don't want to go this crazy world. So believe me, role playing is a good way to kind of break away from that aspect. If you have any questions, or like I said, great stories that you would like to tell, leave them in the comments down below. I want to thank you guys and gals for joining me on this journey. I hope you're excited as I am, and I will see you next time. Peace out.